Science is demon magic. We must destroy it lest we become one with the science and Satan gets his will. Science is racist and triggering. You have to take it away from people because it's problematic.
Did you know that?
Responses and then we'll take the next round.
Okay, so can I respond to your submissions because I wanted to directly respond.
Honestly, why would this be a surprise? First, colleges need to be homes, and now the study of reality and how it works and how nature works is suddenly evil? I mean, let's get the obvious thing out of the way first. Science is not racist, just in the same way that maths is not racist. And of course, racist people can use these things, racist people can use the results, but that doesn't make the thing itself racist, because it doesn't care about opinions or feelings. It's just, these are the facts presented, and you can interpret them in some ways and some other ways, but there's always just the facts themselves and what they say. This always boils down to the same logic of, this is a thing that everyone can use. That means that bad people can use it. That makes it bad. That means we should ban it. I personally can't wait for when breathing becomes problematic.
I was actually thinking about this coming here because I thought that it was going to be one of the coming questions. How do we even start to decolonize science? Because science is true because it is science. And, you know, what can you do? And my response to that was, if I personally were committed to enforcing decolonization, science as a whole is a product of Western modernity and the whole thing should be scratched off.
That statement is just stupid. I don't even have to comment on it. It's stupid. Everyone knows it's stupid. But it's just such a broad statement. I mean, science is a really big area that encompasses so many different things. It's in all aspects of life. And to say we should ban all of it together, you really don't know what you're talking about. And yeah, there are some times in the past where there was a type of agenda that needed to be pushed, and so people made up this test or made up these results to prove that thing, even though the test results weren't actually true. But science now is taking a look at those things and going, that's not true. Let's actually do the fair testing and get the real results for it. To say everyone in science is just automatically out to get you, like how dumb do you have to be?
One practical solution to how to decolonize science, we'd have to restart science from, I don't know, an African perspective, from our perspective of how we've experienced science. For instance, I had a place for all the science people is, there's a place in KZN, in Mkabialingana, and they believe that through the magic, the black magic, you call it black magic, they call it witchcraft, others, that you are able to send a lightning to strike someone. So can you explain that scientifically? Because it is something that happens.
Magic? We should take away science because magic? You fucking moron!
So Western modernity is the problem that decolonization directly deals with, to say that we are going to decolonize by having knowledge that is produced by us, that speaks to us, and that is able to accommodate knowledge from our perspective. So if you're saying that you disagree with her approach, it means that you are vested in the Western and Eurocentric way of understanding, which means you yourself still need to go back internally, decolonize your mind.
How? How do you even dress yourself in the morning? Just because it's cultural and it feels good to you doesn't mean that it's right. Facts don't care about your feelings, and that's a good thing because humans have so many feelings and they all... One person might have one feeling towards something and another person might have another feeling towards it. So you can't ever get something that's objectively true if you use feelings like that. And that's why it's good just to have facts that can't be changed by, well, I think it's better because it makes me feel better if we do it this way instead of this way. Because it's just something that can't be changed. Something like, this is reality, and you cannot change it because you want to represent your own feelings in it. This is reality, this is the way it is for everyone, and you can't argue with that.
Come back and say, how can I re-look at what I've been studying all these years? Because Western knowledge is very pathetic, to say the least. I, from a decolonized perspective, believe we can do more as new knowledge producers, as people who are given the ability to reason or whatever.
This is the level that we're at now. This is, people actually think that it's racist to not include cultural things from a long time ago, fucking voodoo and black magic. That is all nonsense. Because those things are culturally significant and that makes them factually correct somehow. Look, if you want to study that stuff from a cultural perspective and look at all the different types of things, that would be interesting and that would be fine. But why do you have to then look at all of the other subjects that people can choose and go, no, you're not allowed to have a choice, now you have to do this? What does culturally true even fucking mean? Culturally true, yeah, it's culturally true that you can eat the fucking mushroom and become Santa Claus or something. It's culturally true because they practice it in some area. Does that make it anything that you can actually use to do anything in a society, to make anything better, help anyone else, do any fucking productive thing ever? No, I don't think so. And yeah, maybe you're asking me, oh, how can I prove the lightning bolts caused by voodoo are fake? Well, how can you prove that they're not fake? I haven't seen any of that happen. How can you just sit there and say, well, you're not believing me? That's obviously racist because it's culturally true. No one gives a shit unless you actually have evidence. So why don't you get off your fucking ass, get out of gender studies class, stop complaining and actually get some fucking evidence before you start talking. Even people in the fucking safe space with you are laughing at you. But no, in case you're wondering, they don't get away with it.
I need to address you directly. When we started this, we agreed on certain house rules.
Okay.
And by you doing that, you're disrespecting the sacredness of the space. And so I'd like to ask you to first please apologize. And when we started, this is not an antagonizing space.
Well, see, how do you define what is antagonizing in this sacred space? I mean, if I was in that space, what would be antagonizing or irritating for me would be seeing this horribly stupid person talking about how black magic is better than science. So, in that case, she would be the one kicked out of the safe space, if it was my opinion. But, of course, since she is somehow more oppressed, she needs to be the one who is the arbiter of what is annoying or not. So she can say whatever the fucking stupid thing that she wants. And if someone gets triggered because she's being a fucking stupid idiot, then they're the ones who are in the wrong.
Okay, I'm very sorry to the town.
Okay.
Normally, if it was one of those situations where somebody does something that isn't wrong, someone gets triggered by it, and then they apologize, the other person apologizes, I would get pissed off at that because why are you apologizing? You didn't do anything wrong. You know, when it happens with companies who put out certain ads that aren't really offensive and then people take offense to them and people pull down the ads and self-censor. That doesn't make sense and it always pisses me off because you shouldn't be apologizing for it. I guess it's just because you're in a place and you want to see the shit show and people ask you to apologize, you might as well just say sorry because you get to stay and see the shit show. I mean, that's fine. I don't really think it's that much of a big deal in this case, but usually it would piss me off.
And you agree to abide by the rules of the space. Thank you. Please carry on.
But this part does piss me off. You have to agree to the rules of these spaces. Not only do you have to apologize, but you have to agree to the 10 commandments. What is even the point of a safe space anyway? I mean, I know it's supposed to be like an echo chamber kind of thing, but if the people in the safe space need to have fucking rules because they can't even get along with each other, then what's the point in you being in an area where you have to get along with each other and be in this stupid little echo chamber? Why can't you just go and find your own place? Why don't you just go and stay in your bedroom instead of taking up this public space and using it to kick everyone out and say, no, this is my space because I'm an entitled little shit?
Is the reason why I am not in the science faculty.
No, the reason you're not in the science facility is because you're a fucking idiot.
But Western modernity is the direct antagonistic factor to decolonization because Western knowledge is totalizing. It is saying that it was Newton and only Newton who knew or saw an apple falling and then out of nowhere decided that gravity existed and created an equation and that is it. For the whether people knew Newton or not or whether whatever happens in Western Africa, Northern Africa, the thing is the only way to explain gravity is through Newton who sat under a tree and saw an apple fall.
So gravity and equations are white supremacy and races. Gravity doesn't work. Well, I will actually be willing to go with you on that. Why don't you provide me with a test first? Well, if you think gravity really doesn't exist, why don't you just go walk off a cliff and then see if you don't fall and die? I mean, that could be a pretty groundbreaking study. I mean, I suggest that you try that, because I'm willing to go on board. I don't even know where you're going with this. Is it racist because Newton discovered it and they gave him credit instead of some other person? Are you like some sort of Afrocentrist where it was secretly someone else? And it has to be this way and you have no evidence besides my feelings? I mean, sure, sometimes in history we look back and someone who is apparently discovered something, as far as we know, has apparently not discovered it and it was actually someone else that they stole it from. These things do happen, but I don't really get why you're acting as if not Newton himself, but the things that were discovered are somehow fabricated. I mean, I guess it would kind of make sense if you're saying something about Newton himself, but you're saying that gravity itself doesn't exist. I don't understand what to do. Yeah, I don't understand what to say. How can someone like this even find their way out of their house?
Is that people say we do when we think or rationalize. So decolonizing the science would mean doing away with it entirely and starting all over again to deal with how we respond to the environment and how we understand it. Thank you.
You know what? Why don't you do that? Why don't you go and take away all the science and go and live in somewhere in a fucking mud hut in the middle of nowhere and then see what happens when you die of all the diseases and you don't have any cooked food and you don't have anything because science is the thing that brought you those things and you're just taking advantage of it and complaining about it at the same time because you're so fucking entitled that you can't do anything right. Maybe you're just angry because you picked gender studies instead of science, and now instead of saying, girls need to do science, but not me, I'm doing gender studies to find out that girls need to do science, you're just saying, you know what, let's abolish science completely because I'm an entitled stupid fuck who doesn't know what the fuck I'm talking about. I mean, what if the only reason that you're acting oppressed is because you need something to blame the fact that you're fucking incompetent at life? I am so sick and tired of this stupid shit happening. I mean, it's fine, there's some crazy people going around, let's make fun of them, I'm fine with that. I might be a cunt because of that, but I don't fucking care, it's funny. But then you have these little echo chambers where people think, no, we have to engage this because you're gonna hurt their feelings if you tell them that they're being fucking retarded, even though they're being fucking retarded. And then you get these groups of people who actually go, yeah, let's get along with this, let's get on board with this actually makes sense. And then they start a stupid hashtag like science must fall. I mean, if you really hate science so much, why don't you go and live in an isolated area that's far away from anyone else and far away from science and go die of disease? I mean, I'm sure that anyone else who is sane and who is sick of this shit would be absolutely fine with never seeing your face again. Let's get away from all of that and actually imagine how it would work in a feminist post-science world. I personally think it would go something like this.
Walking fast, faces pass, and I'm